What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1987 Mercedes 560 SEL. Up front is a 5.5 liter V8, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this 560 for one main reason. This car oozes 1980s swagger, and so I'm excited to share this amazing automobile with you today. But if you would like to share your amazing automobile with me, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 5.5 liter V8 under the hood. Well, it makes about 238 horsepower, which isn't anything record-breaking here today. However, it's smooth. It's quiet. It's there, but it doesn't let you know that it's there. It's like an oversized polyp just waiting to make its move. A gross analogy, but a good one nevertheless. So this engine was new for 1986 when they refreshed the S-Class. This also does have the Bosch electronic mechanical fuel injection system, which is fantastic until it's not fantastic. I love to drive them. I would hate to work on one. It's a very complex system. There's a lot of small, intricate parts that go into it, and so a lot of regular shops will turn them down. I highly recommend familiarizing yourself with your local German automobile fixer if your Bosch system ever needs work. But besides that, the engine is actually known for being very reliable. There's not really many known issues that come up besides abuse with the 5.5 liter, and that's fantastic to hear. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic transmission, and I thought, wow, that's gonna feel really dated. It honestly doesn't. I'm cruising here doing 50 miles an hour, and I don't notice it at all. What I did notice is when putting it into gear, the car didn't lurch or move at all. When you put it into reverse and your car kind of like clicks and is like, let's go. None of that in the 560 SEL. Smooth as butter into the gates. Last but not least about the drivetrain of the 560 SEL, it is of course rear wheel drive as God intended. So how does it feel to drive a Mercedes 560 SEL? Well, as I've been describing to you this whole video so far, it's smooth. It's incredibly smooth, not only in its ride quality, but all of the operations are smooth. Cadillacs have a smooth ride. There's no denying that. But Mercedes gets all of the sides, the appetizers, the desserts smooth. They get all the extra bits smooth too. It's not just a smooth engine and smooth ride. Like I mentioned with that gear shift, it's just this entire mentality of being smooth. All right, let's just see what it'll do. A build. Oh, it'll yell! It's a slow build up, but once you get there, man, you start going, and this thing feels like it might not stop. It becomes a runaway locomotive, and that is glorious. So when your foot isn't in the pedal, it's calm and collected. I don't have to raise my voice at any part of this video, although I probably still will. It's YouTube and that's sort of the way, but I don't have to yell. It's a very sublime, comfortable experience. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 main gauges. Off to the left, I have my coolant temperature, fuel, oil pressure, and my fuel economy. Then I have my center mounted speedometer. Then off to the right, I have my tachometer and clock. I love the classiness. On the steering wheel, I don't get anything, but this does have an airbag, which for 1987 was a really, really advanced option. Off to the left, I have 2 climate control vents and my headlight switches, as well as my parking brake release. And moving out of the door, I have a manual driver's mirror. Although the passenger was power, this is manual, kind of interesting. Then I have the latch to get in and out and my power seat adjustments. Moving into the center, I get more climate control vents and a whole smorgasbord of buttons. So we have rear defrost and recirculate, we have our hazard switch, we have our power antenna up and down, dome light, our climate controls, fan up, fan down, temperature off to the left, a little scroll wheel, that's it. Then we have the factory radio. I love the look and feel of this radio. It's a Becker Grand Prix. I love that. I love the verbiage from the 80s. There's a whole lot of words that meant a whole lot of nothing, and I love it. Then we have more interesting buttons. So we have our heated seat options, both left and right for driver and passenger, but then in the center, we get a little horn button. And this will actually change between two different horns. Let's see here. So this is when it's up. This is when it's down. Kind of a cool difference. That's really neat. One more time. This is it down. This is it up. I love that. So unnecessary, but cool. Then we have the shifter itself. I've seen this in so many different Mercedes from this era that I've driven, so pretty accustomed to it now. Then we have our power window buttons down below, our fader switch, and our controls for the passenger side mirror that is power. This is a little fader slider right here, and then of course the rear windows. I do get a little tray in the center, but I don't get any outward cup holders here in the 560 SEL, and so unfortunately but predictably, the 1987 Mercedes 560 SEL fails the big friggin' bottle test. Now we gotta talk about the seats. The seats are finished in this beautiful taut leather from the 80s. I love that attention to detail and just the nice luxury feel that the Mercedes here offers. I absolutely love it. They are comfortable, and I can't give them any more than 2 thumbs up. If I could, I would. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 1987 Mercedes 560 SEL, and I mean, it's the back of an S-Class. I mean, if it was anything short of magnificent, it would be a shame on the company, and it's not. I have a removable footrest down below. I've never sat in a car with the footrest. It's fine. It elevates your feet a little bit, but it's cool that it has it. That's super neat. I also have heated rear seats. It has the same temperature-controlled seats as a modern Rolls-Royce Ghost. They do not have rear-cooled seats, and neither does this, so they're on brand. But then, oh, I can lay down a motorized seat. Oh, so cool. I also do get a little center console. It's just a big foam brick, but it does push out the little seatbelt buckles down here, which is a cool little touch. I do get a little vent down there. I get little reading lights on the inside, but this is the place to be in an S-Class, and that has always been true from day one. Even that old 1960s S-Class that I drove was the same story. So this is just, it's magnificent and nothing short. Let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. Right around the back of the 560 SEL. Big button there, and you do get a very sizable trunk. Really, really love that. And it's pretty on brand with the S-Class. However, I do want to actually step away from the trunk for a second because I completely forgot in the back seats. There are storage compartments behind the behind the back seat. So they're very hard to reach. You have to go in through here, but this one has the medical kit in it, and that one is just empty storage. So there you go. First aid kit. They're very awkward to reach. I'm kind of leaning here, but very, very cool. I totally forgot that. So that counts as storage space. So we'll leave it in the same segment as the trunk, but plenty of storage space. You're not going to be at a shortage of that in the 560 SEL. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love the look of the 560 SEL. I do want to note the wheels are known as the sewer cap wheels. I'll put the German word up on the screen, but it roughly translates to manhole cover wheels. And this is finished in either dark green or pine green, depending on what kind of literature you got from Mercedes. This same color went by both names, and it's color code 254 if you want to compare it to your own Mercedes. Now, of the about 30,000 S-Classes that were sold here in the United States, only about 55, per the owner's findings, only 55 560 SELs came in this color. So, if you want to talk about rare color specs, here you go. I also think this car just has a sort of beautiful brutalism to it. It still is of that era with the giant metal bumpers, but it also has the nice plastic around it. It's a sort of mix of new and old. This design started in the late 70s and ran up through 1991. And so you see that sort of mix and transitional era in just the exterior. One final talking point for the exterior: headlight wipers. Need I say more? I don't. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a 1987 Mercedes 560 SEL? Well, I really like it. There's no real big downsides of this car besides that Bosch system. When it's right, it's right. When it's wrong, it's wrong. You're gonna have to deal with that. The only other thing is that this does have rear air suspension. It's a little pricey to fix when it does break. It's not the end of the world, and a lot of people will just switch it over to coil suspension. So again, not that crazy. This is a seriously reliable car. It's a very well-built car, and that's my final talking point. Have you ever been on a drive or working out or just listening to music, and you put on an album or a certain playlist, and it's just banger after banger after banger? You're vibing with the music, you're in the flow, whatever you're doing, you're driving, you're hitting all the green lights. It's sunset, so it's cool enough to have the windows down without the AC on. There's maybe a little nip in the air, but it's beautiful and it's just working. You're not thinking about the mortgage. You're not thinking about your homework assignment. You're not thinking about insurance or numbers, digits, words, verbs, adjectives. No, you're just in the moment, and it's just flowing so flawlessly. That's how this car feels. Not necessarily in the fact that it's a nice cool night, because I promise you, it's actually a sweltering middle of the day. I was roasting like a rotisserie chicken earlier today. God thank this air conditioning for still working. But from the build quality, from the engine to the transmission to the interior to all of the bits and pieces, it feels like Mercedes was in the flow of things. I feel like the marketing team walked in one morning and gave a big high five to the designers, and they all went out to dinner almost every night. They became friends. They were firing on all cylinders when they made this vehicle. And it's very clear in the driving experience. It all works. And there's some cars that I drive where I seriously have to wonder if the design department even talked to the engineers. Some cars I have to wonder if the marketing team was even in the same building, let alone country, when coming up with the commercials and schemes. But not this car. It almost feels like this car was built by the Avengers, everyone with their own specific job and excelling at it to create one great product. And I love it. I really do. One more thing before we go and get out of here, I do want to point out, I didn't know how to work this into the review. The owner, Dan, which thank you, Dan, for letting me take this out, he has the original window sticker for this car. And so it was originally stickered at $67,000, which I will put up on screen in 2023 money. Now, if you're watching this in 2024 or beyond, that inflation rate is probably going to be different, as you would assume. It will probably be different by the time this video comes out with the way our economy's going. But nevertheless, here's the window sticker originally for this car. I just love old stuff like this whenever I can see it. I love it. And that is all thank you to Dan. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, thanks to Dan for letting me take this thing out. We are also filming another one of his vehicles later today, which you'll see up on screen now. My grin will not be contained in that video. But Dan has been absolutely awesome to work with. Such a nice guy and so thorough when it comes to his automobiles, which I absolutely love. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.